live. Tonight, striking down the bump stock ban. The major news out of the Supreme Court ruling the bump stock, that device used in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, does not, in fact, convert a semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun and thereby is legal all across the country. Which justices ruled in favor, which opposed, and what gun groups and lawmakers are now advocating for after the momentous decision. Plus, Florida bracing for a new round of dangerous flooding. Millions are under flood watches in the south as relentless extreme rain and possible life-threatening flooding soaks the area just as a heat wave prepares to set in for tens of millions of Americans. And
if sharing my story helps one child, just one child anywhere, from being sexually abused, I'm willing to tell my story.
Tonight, we bring you the story a year in the making into an elusive Christian sect so secretive, most people haven't heard of it, and the alleged wrongdoings happening behind closed doors. Good evening. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more, including a health update from Princess Kate on her cancer treatment and her expected return to public life just hours from now. Plus, the Pope meets with world leaders following the G7 summit and has a group session with some of the most celebrated comedians from all over the world. And the cicada chaos flourishing and flying in the Midwest as Illinois gets hit with what one biologist is calling cicadas of biblical proportions. But we are going to begin with that major Supreme Court ruling overturning a ban on bump stocks that was instituted during the Trump administration. Bump stocks, it's right there, these attachments that dramatically ramp up the speed at which rifles can fire bullets. It was imposed after that horrific Las Vegas music festival attack. 60 people died in what is the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. The ban had bipartisan support at the time, but the court's conservative majority ruled the government exceeded its authority in imposing the ban. We will hear from the creator of the bump stock shortly. Devin Dwyer traveled to Tennessee to spend time with him, and we are standing by to hear from a survivor of that Las Vegas shooting. But first, Terry Moran leads us off from the Supreme Court.
It was the deadliest mass shooting in modern American history. A gunman firing more than 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes killed 58 people at a Las Vegas concert. And now the attachment that gunman used to transform several of his weapons so they could fire at that lethally high rate of speed is legal once again in the U.S., more than 5 years after the ATF banned so-called bump stocks following that rampage in Vegas. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court today said bump stocks, which can enable semi-automatic rifles to fire up to 800 rounds per minute, don't convert those weapons into machine guns, which can fire up to 950 rounds per minute and are prohibited in the U.S. Writing for the conservative majority, Justice Clarence Thomas said even with a bump stock, a semi-automatic rifle will fire only one shot every time the trigger is pulled. Thomas writing, a bump stock does not convert a semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun any more than a shooter with a lightning-fast trigger finger does. Michael Cargill, the gun store owner who sued the government to reinstate bump stocks, was elated by the ruling.
They cannot walk into my house and tell me something that I owned, that I purchased, all of a sudden, years later, it's illegal, and they decide to ban it.
This year, we met the man who invented those bump stocks, Jeremiah Cottle, and he showed us how they work.
And it's as simple as lining the bump fire stock up with the buffer tube and then sliding it on the gun. You pull the trigger, it fires one time, it recoils, and you pull the trigger again to fire the next one.
Range is hot.
What my product does is just allows you to do that very quickly.
The invention made him a millionaire overnight. More than 700,000 bump stocks were sold in the decade before the ban took effect in 2019. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, dissenting, scorned the majority's logic. When I see a bird that walks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, I call that bird a duck. A bump stock-equipped semi-automatic rifle, I call that a machine gun. Today's decision to reject that ordinary understanding will have deadly consequences.
Terry joins us now. Terry, just to clarify this, people can now buy bump stocks again, right now, today.
They can. Some people, because, Phil, several states have passed their own bans on bump stocks. The federal ban is gone, but those states have those laws in place. They're likely to be challenged under the Second Amendment. The only way a national ban could get reinstated is if Congress did that. And given the track record in Congress over recent years on this issue, the only thing that could probably get Congress to move on a gun control measure of that magnitude is probably another massacre. Phil?
Well, that is a horrifying reality. Terry, thank you. Our Devin Dwyer covers the court for us. He's been following this specific case for months now and has been speaking with the creator of the bump stock. Devin joins us now. Devin.
Hey, Phil, you know, to gun safety advocates, these devices turn rifles into killing machines. And it begs the question, why was the bump stock created and how does it actually work? Few people have actually seen it in action, but we traveled to Tennessee, the home of the inventor of the bump stock, Jeremiah Cottle, who showed us firsthand how it actually works. And we pressed him whether he has any guilt on his conscience for the role his device played in the deadliest mass shooting in American history in 2017. To some, Jeremiah Cottle is an American hero.
I've got my Air Medal, my Aerial Achievement Medal, my NATO Medal.
To his critics, the father of four is a promoter of mass death. How did you conceive of the bump stock?
I wanted to create a way that people could go out and shoot their guns safely and have fun, to shoot as fast as you want to be able to shoot.
Like a machine gun?
Similar, yes, but not quite like that. You can take pretty much any semi-automatic firearm, and then using a technique, you can make that gun shoot extremely fast.
Cottle is the inventor of the bump stock, the non-mechanical device that harnesses the recoil power of a semi-automatic rifle to fire shots in rapid succession. For 8 years, the government approved its sale and patents protected its design.
I'm very proud of what I've done.
That despite a 1986 federal ban on the production of machine guns for civilian use and heavy restrictions on those already in circulation. In October 2017, the deadly power of a bump stock came into horrifying view. Investigators concluded a gunman in Las Vegas who killed 60 people and injured more than 500 at a music festival had guns equipped with bump stocks. Sisters Marissa Morano and Gina Springman were shot at in the crowd that day.
Our mother could have lost 2 daughters that night. We need it to be regulated. This converts an assault weapon into a machine gun.
For years, the ATF had concluded that a bump stock was not an illegal machine gun, allowing the sale of more than 700,000 nationwide. But in 2018, the agency changed course.
And how does that compare to a fully automatic weapon you used to fire in combat?
Very close. Steve Kling, a retired Army commander of a small arms training unit and gun safety advocate, says ATF's reversal was a more accurate analysis of federal law.
And when you see the bump stock, you see what?
A toy that can add an incredible level of lethality to a weapon that has no practical use whatsoever.
And you're saying a bump stock violates, if not the technical requirements of the law, certainly the spirit of the law.
It violates both.
At Central Texas Gun Works outside Austin, bump stocks have been off the shelves since the ATF ordered them surrendered or destroyed.
Grab that slide, push up.
Owner Michael Cargill, an Army veteran and gun safety instructor, is now leading the fight to bring them back.
Stance, grip, sights.
Cargill insists a bump stock is a firearm accessory and that the ATF overstepped its authority.
Look at your sight.
An agency within the federal government can't come out and actually turn millions of people into felons overnight or ban a product. We have to go through Congress to do that.
It doesn't sound like, Jeremiah, you have any weight on your conscience about a potential connection between the bump stock and what happened in Las Vegas.
No. I believe people that are bent on violence will achieve violence regardless of the tools they use.
And tonight, Jeremiah Cottle tells me he's ready to bring the product back to market. He has inventory on hand, manufacturing ready to go. Michael Cargill, the Texas gun store owner who won the Supreme Court case, he's out telling customers to prepare to stockpile bump stocks. And that tonight, Phil, terrifies those victims of the Las Vegas shooting, the survivors. They told me tonight that they are deeply emotional about today's decision and are prepared to press Congress to actually ban this with legislation. Phil?
Yeah, I would imagine this whole thing has been traumatic for them. Devin, thank you.
You bet.
One of the survivors of that Las Vegas shooting, America's deadliest mass shooting, joins us now. Marissa Morano is with us. Marissa, thank you so much for taking the time. I assume you've been following this case closely. The Supreme Court decision means that bump stocks will once again be available in America. I'm wondering, I can pretty much guess, but I'm wondering what your reaction to that was.
I'm sad. I'm sad that something that is common sense, gun sense legislation is being overturned. I'm sad that something that is bipartisan is not being considered. I'm sad that we are allowing this accessory to an AR-15 to become more accessible to many and allow more shootings to happen that are more traumatic and more detrimental than the average shooting of just an AR-15, if that's even possible.
Demolition began today of the high school building that was the site of the shooting in Parkland, Florida, 6 years ago now. At that time, President Trump vowed to act to prevent future tragedy. I know that you've been pretty vocal about this. In your eyes, did the former president do anything to make that happen?
He did. He's the one who put into place this ban on bump stocks. I think that's what, to me, is such a pivotal point in this whole discussion, is that this is not, the liberals and the, extreme right. This is a bipartisan agreement that this is common sense to keep our community safe. And for the Supreme Court to make a decision otherwise baffles me. It's ludicrous.
I'm curious, what specific gun reform changes would you want to see? If you had a wish list, you could do this. What would it be?
I would love to have background checks, right? Something very simple. I would love to not put, guns and arms in the hands of people that are under the age of 21. I think felons should obviously, go through more restricted. There should be no loopholes in that. The ghost gun loophole needs to be stopped. It's all about common sense, gun sense legislation. And I think that's the most important and frustrating part for the work that I do and that with the communities that I work with Everytown for gun safety and Moms Demand Action, that we're not pushing for anything except gun sense legislation. Things to make our communities, our children safe, because people are dying by the dozen.
After today's ruling, President Biden called on Congress to ban bump stocks as well as assault weapons, writing, and we'll quote this, "Send me a bill and I will sign it immediately," is what he said. I'm wondering, do you think something like that is even possible right now, particularly in an election year?
I'm going to hope so. I don't know. Anything is possible, I think, within this election year. So I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of that. What I do know is that I have to have faith in our Congress. I have to have faith in our president. I have to have faith in our nation that change can happen and we can be safe despite some decisions that would like to make us unsafe.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Your perspective is, of course, incredibly important and poignant today. We appreciate the conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And next tonight, the FAA is investigating 2 mid-air incidents with Southwest Airlines flights, one jet's sudden plunge coming within 400 feet of the ocean, and a rare rolling incident at 34,000 feet. ABC's Trevor Alt explains.
Tonight, the FAA investigating two concerning incidents on Southwest airline flights. In April, a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 off the coast of Hawaii came within just 400 feet of slamming into the ocean. Bloomberg reporting inclement weather caused an aborted landing attempt on Kauai. The report citing a Southwest memo stating the less experienced first officer inadvertently pushed forward on the control column, then cut the speed, causing the airplane downward. Soon after, a warning system sounded alarms the jet was getting too close to the surface, and the captain ordered the first officer to increase thrust. The plane then climbed aggressively at 8,500 feet per minute. No one was injured, but the flight was diverted back to Honolulu. Southwest now saying the event was addressed appropriately, as we always strive for continuous improvement. Then last month, another Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8, this time en route from Phoenix to Oakland, experiencing a rare event at 34,000 feet, what's known as a Dutch roll, when an aircraft simultaneously slides from side to side and rocks wingtip to wingtip. The FAA incident report says the flight regained control, and the post-flight inspection revealed damage to the standby power control unit. No one was injured.
As of now, this is not something for passengers to be concerned about. The NTSB would have grounded the fleet if they saw something that they were really concerned about.
And Trevor joins us now. Trevor, the FAA is investigating other safety concerns as well. Tell us how counterfeit titanium wound up in passenger jets.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to hear, Phil. So these are jets from both Boeing and from Airbus, and the common link between them is a company called Spirit Aerosystems, which does manufacturing for both of them. And they say that counterfeit titanium made its way into the supply system because of some falsified documents. Now, Spirit Aerosystems insists that those parts have now all been removed from production, and they, along with Boeing and Airbus, are also making sure that everyone knows that they still believe that every plane that's still in the air is safe to fly. Phil.
All right, Trevor Ault, thank you. Dangerous storms are hitting the Northeast with more than 50 million people on alert right along that I-95 corridor. And South Florida, after days of torrential rain led to water rescues, millions are now bracing for another hit. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg will time out the storms for us. But first, Victor Akendo reports from Florida.
Tonight, powerful thunderstorms and high winds targeting millions from D.C. to New York to Boston. Dangerous driving conditions right in the middle of the evening commute.
But what we're concerned about, of course, damaging wind gusts, localized flooding, downpours, you name it.
It's the same system that spawned 7 tornadoes in the Midwest overnight. These buildings in the tiny northeast Missouri town of Ewing ripped to shreds. Meanwhile, waterlogged South Florida bracing for up to 5 more inches of rain after more than 2 feet already. Dead cars everywhere.
Tow trucks have been working around the clock. This one picking up this car in North Miami. But down the block, there are at least another dozen stalled out cars, and that's just on one street.
Families still trapped in neighborhoods that look like lakes. First responders and high water vehicles seen leading families from these flooded homes this morning.
Oh, wow. Look how much water is still inside his house.
So a lot of things got damaged. This is me trying to save what I can.
I mean, we're still talking about...
That's a good, what,
That's like 3 inches right here.
Yeah.
Jamin Reyes has lived in this North Miami neighborhood for 11 years.
You're frustrated.
Yeah. You know, I keep my cool, but this is every year, man. Every year is the same thing. I've damaged so many things, and I had to throw a lot of things away. And then when I replace them, they get damaged again.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad.
Victor joins us now from Florida. Victor, what are the conditions like where you are now?
Phil, here in this North Miami neighborhood that took on the bulk of the water that fell in Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue is still pulling people from their homes. Take a look down the block behind me. You'll see one of their high water vehicles. Residents were just loaded up on the back of it. There's much of South Florida still under a flood watch through tonight. The good news, we finally start to dry out tomorrow. Phil?
Yeah, there's just nowhere for that water to go. Victor, thank you. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our partner station in New York, WABC, joins us now. Lee, what's next?
Well, Phil, we got some storms approaching New York City right now, about to pour. It's really air you can wear out here. Very humid and a cold front bumping into that air. We've already had severe storms in Boston this evening. Now we have a severe thunderstorm watch across southeastern New York and into New Jersey. Storms moving into New York City should be east of the 5 boroughs by the time we get to 8 o'clock. And then we have severe thunderstorm watches until 9 o'clock. Southwestern Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. Hail, damaging winds, heavy downpours, and lightning. This is all about getting the heat eastward. Now, we've had the sweltering heat out west. I mean, it's been one of the hottest springs ever in the desert Southwest. But now that heat has expanded eastward, we're seeing 90s triple-digit temperatures all the way into the southeast. And that heat dome is expanding into the Midwest and the Northeast as we go through next week. It is blazing right off the bat in places like Chicago and Detroit and Cincinnati. Look at those temperatures in the mid and upper 90s. And then Boston and New York, along the I-95 corridor, we really start hitting our sizzling stride by the time we get to about midweek. In the tropics, well, as a candidate for development here, it's in the southwestern Gulf. 50% chance of development. The first name storm would be called Alberto. We'll be watching it closely. Looks like an active season. Phil?
And here we go. All right, Lee Goldberg, thanks so much. Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah have been trading near daily fire since the eruption of the Gaza war, but attacks have intensified in recent days. At least 35 projectiles crossed from Lebanon into northern Israel since this morning alone, according to the Israeli Defense Forces. Israeli emergency services responding to a string of fires caused by the rockets. Hezbollah has taken responsibility for several of the attacks. That's after an airstrike last night killed 2 women and injured 20 people in a village in southern Lebanon, and following Israel's strike on Tuesday that killed a Hezbollah commander. Now to Italy. President Biden wrapping up the G7 summit with world leaders, sharing a moment here with Pope Francis, the two later meeting one-on-one. Francis, the first pontiff ever to address the group of world leaders. What was his warning to them? And earlier, a lighter moment at the Vatican. Pope Francis meeting with famous American comedians and comedians around the world. Selena Wang in Italy for us tonight.
Tonight, President Biden wrapping up the G7 summit with world leaders, sharing a tender moment with Pope Francis in Italy. Later meeting one-on-one with the pontiff, gifting him a decorative tray with an image of the Capitol Rotunda.
It's not the Vatican, but...
The two leaders discussing the urgent need for a ceasefire in Gaza and the war in Ukraine. Parting with a handshake, Pope Francis telling the president,
Pray for me, I pray for you. I promise I do.
Francis, the first pontiff ever to address the G7, delivering a warning about artificial intelligence, urging the leaders to put more guardrails in place. Saying, quote, we would condemn humanity to a future without hope by dooming them to depend on the choices of machines. And earlier, a lighter moment at the Vatican. Pope Francis meeting with comedians like Chris Rock, Stephen Colbert, and Whoopi Goldberg, saying, in the midst of so much gloomy news, you have the power to spread serenity and smiles.
And Selena is with us now from Italy. Selena, the G7 leaders just issued their joint statement. What did they say?
Yeah, Phil, well, these leaders were very clear that they are fully backing the ceasefire plan that President Biden had laid out. They're also very critical of Israel. They say the number of civilian casualties in Gaza is unacceptable, and they're urging Israel not to launch that full-scale invasion into Rafah. Phil?
Selena Wang from Italy tonight. Selena, thank you. A federal judge today ordered the liquidation of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones's personal assets to pay his debt to Sandy Hook families. Jones owes the families $1.5 billion for his false claims that the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in 2012 was a hoax. Jones and his media company, Free Speech Systems, filed for bankruptcy in 2022. And now Jones's assets will be sold off. The future of his InfoWars platform is still uncertain, as it is part of a separate bankruptcy case. The Justice Department declining to prosecute Attorney General Merrick Garland for contempt of Congress. The DOJ writing that Garland's refusal to turn over audio of President Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur in his classified documents case, quote, did not constitute a crime. President Biden asserted executive privilege last month to block the release of the audio, claiming Republicans only wanted it for political purposes. There is still much more to get to here tonight on Prime. The personal message from Princess Kate as concern continues over her health, when she'll be making her next public appearance. But next, it's an institution that has been around for decades, but many have never heard of it. We are going to peel back the curtain on the secrecy and sexual abuse allegations against the 2x2 Church. We speak to a survivor and federal investigators.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut. From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag.
Not a tear in it.
How important it made to USA. Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismail?
David.
David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you? I hated the Brat Pack. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense?
Andrew?
I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium.
1985? I think we could have.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead.
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Welcome back. The 2x2 Church has been around for decades, yet many Americans have never heard of it. Some former members say that secrecy helped the sexual abuse they endured there go unchecked. Our year-long investigation is helping to pull back the curtain. Here's our Kira Phillips, and we do want to warn you, some of this material is disturbing.
There is a price to be paid every time a survivor shares their story.
Then why are you going to share this with me?
If my sharing my story helps one child, just one child anywhere, from being sexually abused, I'm willing to tell my story.
Sherry Autry says she is a survivor of child sexual abuse.
Good boy.
Born and raised in the secretive Christian sect known by outsiders as the 2x2 Church. The 2x2 religion is so secretive, most people haven't even heard of it. Ministers of the church, known as workers, travel in pairs within their designated areas. Most of their belongings confined to just a suitcase, living together in members' homes, usually for a few days at a time.
Why do you say the 2x2 Church has a sex abuse problem?
I'm a victim of it.
Is the 2x2 Church a breeding ground for pedophiles?
It is the perfect environment for pedophiles.
But Sherry's story is not unique. We've been investigating this secretive sect for a year, speaking to dozens of alleged victims of child sexual abuse across more than 30 states. A lot of the ex-members we spoke to say that some of the church leadership knew about the abuse allegations, but didn't report any of it to the authorities. Rather than calling in the cops, alleged abusers kept on working, but in different states.
The shuffling of abusers from state to state to state, from country to country to country, is common. Get the abuser out of Dodge.
What is the 2x2 church?
It is a secret sect. They claim it to be a non-denominational Christian church. They don't have any church structures. They meet in each other's home. It flies under the radar, but it is actually a very organized structure.
The belief that their one true way, their interpretation of God's law, supersedes man's.
All these institutions think they're above the law because God is on their side. These institutions are havens for sexual abusers. And the child cannot protect the child.
Protection, Sherry says she never had 40 years ago when she was 14, and a worker by the name of Steve Rose moved into her home.
He was kind of a celebrity worker, very tall, 6'6", huge presence, very charismatic, and
handsome, charming,
all the above.
So Steve Rose moves into your house. What happened?
So the first night, hey, Sherry, let's go down to the barn, tell scary stories, feed the dogs, and started kissing me.
What happened next?
It went from just kissing to him coming to my room at night. There was touching under the clothes. When we went to his room is when it was more explicit. He asked me to take my pajamas off, take my underwear off. He'd be there in bed naked.
And then what?
He'd have me grab his penis. He'd be touching me everywhere, kissing me. And it was scary. It was scary. Because I knew if we got caught, I would be in trouble.
You were 14, he was 28.
I was a little girl. I hadn't started my period. There was nothing womanly about me. I was a little scrawny tomboy.
Steve Rose stayed in Sherry's home for 2 months. She says the abuse happened every day. It took 3 years before Sherry could get the courage to tell her parents about Steve Rose, and when she did, they immediately believed her. Sherry's parents did take action. They wrote a letter to their overseer, the man in charge of workers in their area, and they told him about Steve Rose and his alleged abuses. He responded, and so did Steve Rose.
I would like to say and make very clear, we did not have sexual intercourse. We did kiss and touch each other intimately. This did not happen with anyone else. I did not intend to cover this up, but I did not know how to handle it other than to leave the area and beg God to forgive me. I was old enough to know better, but still weak in the flesh.
Members of the church leadership never reported Steve Rose's abuse to the police. Instead, he was asked to apologize to Sherry in person.
And then what?
And then 6 years later, he's promoted, multiple workers knowing that he's a pedophile.
Sherry has been trying to find justice, but when we reached out to the Tulare County District's Attorney's Office, we got this statement that seemed to indicate a criminal conviction would not happen. Prosecutors have meticulously reviewed reports and victim accounts in this case and have determined that any potential crime falls outside of California's statute of limitations. It's not just Sherry's life that's been changed forever. There's Cheryl Owings in North Carolina, who says her abuse began when she was 7 in 1955. Laura Lee Brown in California, who says she was 9. And there's a girl in Montana whose family says she was just 2 years old. She is now 13. In a rare, exclusive interview, we sat down with the FBI at the Omaha field office that's now leading this worldwide investigation.
Sources tell us they've given you 800 names of perpetrators. Have you ever heard of something this widespread?
What I can tell you is this. When we first put out the initial message requesting people provide us information, we did receive quite a bit of information. And we're continuing that push.
The FBI insists that anyone who experienced abuse should contact them.
Let's say you arrest one person, 2 people. Is that it?
The FBI focuses, in general, on bringing cases from local to global. The FBI doesn't stop at just an initial arrest. We will follow the evidence wherever it leads.
There's no one head of the church. But as for the dozens of former and current overseers with whom we spoke, all of them denied knowing anything about the widespread sexual abuse taking place within the church.
So we tried several times to call Steve Rose. We did get him on the phone. He hung up on me. So we're now in Minneapolis. Tony has me mic'd up, and we're going to head over to his work, hoping that he will answer our questions on camera.
Yep. Here we go, guys.
Is that right?
Yep, that's him.
Yep, that's him. I would say start approaching him.
Ready? Steve Rose, Kira Phillips with ABC News. I'd like to ask you about these letters that you wrote Sherry Autry's parents and also your overseer.
Yeah, no comment.
Did you sexually abuse Sherry Autry when she was 14 and you were 28?
No comment.
And you can watch the entire story on Impact by Nightline, The Secrets of the 2x2 Church, now streaming on Hulu. And our thanks to Kira for that. There is still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, a wild scene at LAX leads to a woman being knocked unconscious. What police say happened before these violent moments. But next, they may be from a small town, but they're making some big money. We take a look at the Edmonton Oilers by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you. David, good to meet you.
Ismail?
David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast. Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
There is a price to be paid every time a survivor shares their story. I will not be silenced.
Do you feel the church accepted abuse?
I wouldn't say accepted it as so much pretended it didn't exist.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Ready? Kira Phillips with ABC News. Does your church protect sexual predators?
The powerful new Impact by Nightline. Secrets of the 2x2 Church.
There's nothing pretty about hearing this.
Now streaming on Hulu. First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning to catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward,
with some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Here's to good mornings in America.
Can you feel the love? Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's Ray of Sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true.
Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
you know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. The Stanley Cup Finals got underway this week with the Florida Panthers facing off against the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are back in the finals after a long hiatus, and while they're down 3-0, there's still plenty of excitement surrounding this team. Evidence of their rising successes tonight by the numbers. It is the first time in 18 years that the Oilers are in the finals. And though their market size is near the bottom of the league, they are still the 7th most valuable franchise in the NHL, and that's out of 32 teams. According to Forbes, the team generated $281 million in revenue last season, and that's despite the Canadian dollar trading at 3/4 the value of the American dollar. Their dedicated fan base is clearly hungry. 1990 is the last time the Oilers actually won the Stanley Cup. That win was one of 5 Cup victories from 1983 to 1990 when some guy named Wayne Gretzky led the dynasty. Meantime, it's been a 30-year drought since any Canadian team won at all. The Montreal Canadiens began being the last team to win in 1993. And as mentioned, the Oilers are down 3-0 to the Panthers. Only once in 1942 has a team come back from such a deficit. So we'll find out Saturday night if the Oilers can stay alive. All games are being televised on ABC and ESPN+. There is much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Video shows the moment rescuers arrived to save 2 hikers who called for help. We'll show you what happened next. And award-winning actor and director Ron Howard taking us inside the creative mind and whirlwind life of Jim Henson.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation.
You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. Raleigh, North Carolina.
The U.S. Capitol.
Mayfield, Kentucky.
Minneapolis.
Mexico.
Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. Giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning to catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward,
with some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In rolling forward, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Turn on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes.
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. A woman gets caught up in a pretty violent incident at the airport. A house explodes with a woman inside of it, and why some Americans may want to start learning the game of cricket. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown.
Video shows a woman being knocked unconscious outside LAX when she was struck by two men who were in a fight stemming from a suspected road rage incident. Police said the incident happened last month when the woman was checking in her bags curbside at the airport. The footage shows both suspects continue to fight on the ground as the woman was lying unconscious next to them. Police are looking for one of the men involved in the scuffle. The other turned himself in to the authorities. At least one person was critically injured in a house explosion in Tennessee this morning. The explosion leveled the house, and at least 6 homes in the immediate area were damaged in the blast. Afterward, the gas service was disconnected in the neighborhood as a precaution. A woman inside the home at the time of the explosion was critically injured and taken to a nearby hospital where she's alert and talking. No word yet on the cause. 2 hikers near Joshua Tree National Park were rescued by helicopter after calling for help, according to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Authorities arrived on the scene and found a man and woman lying on the ground. The rescue team hoisted them up into the helicopter one at a time. The chopper eventually landed, and an ambulance took the man to a nearby hospital. A medical helicopter then transported the woman to a local hospital due to her severe condition. Cicada chaos is flourishing and flying, now being spotted more in the Midwest. Trillions of once hidden baby bugs are in the air, on the trees, and perching upon people's shirts, hats, and even faces. Overall, cicadas play an important role in the local ecosystem as fertilizer, aerating the soil, and food for birds and other animals, according to biologists. Millions of cicadas can make a deafening noise when they're above ground, but pose no threat to humans. Record high prices the world is seeing for OJ right now may be on the table for a while due to diseases and extreme weather ravaging orange groves in some top producing countries. This year's harvest in Brazil, the world's largest exporter of orange juice, is likely to be the worst in 36 years due to flooding and drought, according to local forecasts. In the U.S., Florida's already diminished orange production fell 62% in the 2022-2023 season after Hurricane Ian. In the U.S., a 12-ounce can of frozen orange juice concentrate cost an average of $4.27 in April, 42% more than during the same month a year earlier, according to government figures. The United States cricket team made history by reaching the second round in its T20 World Cup debut after its last group game against Ireland was washed out on Friday. The team advanced to the Super 8 round of the tournament and secured a spot in the 2026 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka. The U.S. qualified for this year's T20 World Cup only as a co-host with the West Indies, but it has used a home advantage to make a stunning first impression in its first major cricket tournament. The Super 8 round starts on Wednesday.
Tonight, a personal message from Princess Kate saying she will join her family for the King's birthday parade tomorrow. It would be her first public appearance since her cancer diagnosis, but adding that she is not out of the woods yet. ABC's Lama Hassan with more from London.
Tonight, a personal and emotional message from the Princess of Wales, opening up about her health and the news she will attend a major royal event this weekend in her first official appearance since her cancer diagnosis. I am making good progress, Catherine writes, but as anyone going through chemotherapy will know, there are good days and bad days. On those bad days, you feel weak, tired, and you have to give in to your body resting. But on the good days, when you feel stronger, you want to make the most of feeling well. Along with the message, Kensington Palace releasing this new photo of the princess taken earlier this week in Windsor. The princess writing, "On the days I feel well enough, it is a joy to engage with school life, spend personal time on the things that give me energy and positivity, as well as starting to do a little work from home." Catherine, the mother of 3 young children, making that shocking announcement in March.
As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day.
Revealing to the world she was undergoing preventative chemo for an unspecified cancer. Treatment, she says, is still ongoing and will be for months. She's expected to ride in a horse-drawn carriage at Saturday's Trooping the Colour Parade, marking the King's official birthday, and watch the iconic flypast from the Buckingham Palace balcony. Today, Catherine grateful for love and support, sharing she is not out of the woods yet. "I'm learning how to be patient, especially with uncertainty, taking each day as it comes, listening to my body and allowing myself to take this much-needed time to heal." Phil, the princess is expected to be on that famous balcony behind me with her father-in-law, King Charles, who, of course, is also undergoing treatment for cancer. Phil?
Lama Hassan from London. Lama, thank you. So no doubt you are familiar with the name Jim Henson. Now, the story of the man behind many of our favorite movies and iconic characters is finally being told. Lindsay Davis spoke to award-winning director Ron Howard about how his new documentary dives into the mind of one of the world's most renowned creators.
Hello there, my name is Jim Henson, and I'm a puppeteer.
Sesame Street. The Muppets.
He showed people the good in all of us.
What first drew you to tell Jim Henson's story?
Well, I always was an admirer, but when I had that first exploratory meeting with the family and also saw the archives, I realized there was just a lot to learn, and that there were lessons in his journey, as playful, creative, nostalgic as all of his work is to us. There were real lessons about the journey that I thought were interesting. Creatively, he was always inventing, always exploring, and all of those experiments that he was messing around with, making home movies with his kids, that all led to the stuff that we all remember so well. I knew nothing about his wife, Jane, and how significant she was. They just did it together. You know, they built the Muppet idea together.
And most people didn't. Until this documentary, you won't really know the role and significance that she played in ultimately what we know about Jim Henson and all of his creations. How would you describe her role in all of this?
Well, I think that she, recognized an unbelievable talent. They met in an arts class, actually a puppeteering class.
I think she said she discovered him.
Yeah, and she was a few years older, and so I think she was a senior and he was a freshman or a sophomore. She recognized something exciting there, and he had already kind of launched his career. He married and had 5 kids. You know, ironically, the pressures, the possibilities of everything that they had created, the thing that had brought them together romantically, in a lot of ways, wound up pulling them apart. There's a part of our story, I think in its own way, still kind of inspiring, because a lot of people, you know, they don't grow together, they grow apart. That's what happened to Jim and Jane, and yet they handled that even well, you know, and their kids loved both of them.
Do you have a favorite puppet of Jim Henson's?
Well, you know, it's kind of obvious, but you know, Kermit.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thanks.
I relate to Kermit because I relate to Jim Henson, and Kermit was Jim's alter ego, and he positioned Kermit as always kind of the one who was a little offbeat, but had kind of the best common sense, and all the crazies swirling around were characters that he loved, but he had to deal with.
There were a lot of surprises for me. For example, learning right off the bat that he never even aspired to be a puppeteer. He just wanted to get into TV, didn't grow up with puppets. Were there other things that surprised you along the way?
Well, I knew he accomplished a lot. I didn't know quite how driven he was, and I didn't know that in his family he had lost a brother at a young age. Brother was 5 years older. That clearly demonstrated that life could be short.
He had so many ideas and so many things he wanted to do. And so the idea of time, I think, was very much on Jim's mind always.
He was always doing, he was always creating, and he was urgent about it.
Wrap it up and get to the ending.
I've always operated doing a few things at the same time, and I find it very exciting.
I don't think he ever took time for granted, and he was just this restless, creative engine, and it sort of found its way into puppets. He still made lots of experimental films, things that are cool, and funny, always funny. He used satire, whether it was on a kid's level or a little older and more mature, to make us recognize, those foibles and that funny stuff about ourselves that it's important to be reminded of. Just a great creative genius.
About to celebrate your 49th wedding anniversary.
Yes.
The 50th anniversary of Happy Days.
Wow.
A lot that's behind you, but what's still ahead?
Well, I've got a lot of projects I'd like to make. I've got ideas that seem interesting. I've got, actors I'd like to collaborate with. Brian Grazer and I are still having a great time with Imagine Entertainment. We've discovered documentaries, and our documentary team is just fantastic. And we love the fact that Imagine has become, a place where they can, follow their dreams and also allow us to participate, create in a situation where we can really get involved in that medium too. It's really an honor and a lot of fun to share what I think I know with collaborators and audiences, and also just keep going on the journey. It's a blast.
I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Great talking to you.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Lindsay and Ron Howard for that conversation. Looking forward to it. Jim Henson, The Idea Man, is now streaming on Disney+. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, the implications of a Supreme Court decision to strike down a ban on bump stocks, and why the U.S. military is now in talks to suspend operations again for that floating humanitarian aid pier just off Gaza.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead! Turn on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere. What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
David, good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis, and we are going to begin with that major Supreme Court ruling overturning a ban on bump stocks that was instituted during the Trump administration. Bump stocks, you see right there, are those attachments that dramatically ramp up the speed at which rifles can fire bullets. It was imposed after that horrific Las Vegas Music Festival attack. 60 people died in what is now the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. The ban had bipartisan support at the time, but the country's conservative majority ruled, the Supreme Court's majority ruled that the government exceeded its authority in imposing that ban. Terry Moran leads us off from the Supreme Court tonight.
It was the deadliest mass shooting in modern American history. A gunman firing more than 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes killed 58 people at a Las Vegas concert. And now the attachment that gunman used to transform several of his weapons so they could fire at that lethally high rate of speed is legal once again in the U.S., more than 5 years after the ATF banned so-called bump stocks following that rampage in Vegas. In a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court today said bump stocks, which can enable semi-automatic rifles to fire up to 800 rounds per minute, don't convert those weapons into machine guns, which can fire up to 950 rounds per minute and are prohibited in the U.S. Writing for the conservative majority, Justice Clarence Thomas said even with a bump stock, a semi-automatic rifle will fire only one shot every time the trigger is pulled. Thomas writing, a bump stock does not convert a semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun any more than a shooter with a lightning-fast trigger finger does. Michael Cargill, the gun store owner who sued the government to reinstate bump stocks, was elated by the ruling.
They cannot walk into my house and tell me something that I owned, that I purchased. All of a sudden, years later, it's illegal, and they decide to ban it.
This year, we met the man who invented those bump stocks, Jeremiah Cottle, and he showed us how they work.
And it's as simple as lining the bump fire stock up with the buffer tube and then sliding it on the gun. You pull the trigger, it fires one time, it recoils, and you pull the trigger again to fire the next one. Range is hot. What my product does is just allows you to do that very quickly.
The invention made him a millionaire overnight. More than 700,000 bump stocks were sold in the decade before the ban took effect in 2019. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, dissenting, scorned the majority's logic. When I see a bird that walks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, I call that bird a duck. A bump stock-equipped semi-automatic rifle, I call that a machine gun. Today's decision to reject that ordinary understanding will have deadly consequences. Marissa Morano, who survived the Las Vegas shooting, says she's appalled by today's Supreme Court ruling.
I'm sad. I'm sad that our Supreme Court can't protect us. I'm sad that our children and our communities are not safe. It's sickening, to be honest.
Terry Moran tonight from the Supreme Court. A federal judge today ordered the liquidation of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones's personal assets to pay his debt to Sandy Hook families. Jones owes those families $1.5 billion for his false claims that the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre in 2012 was a hoax. Jones and his media company, Free Speech Systems, filed for bankruptcy in 2022, and now Jones's assets will be sold off. The future of his InfoWars platform is still uncertain, as it is part of a separate bankruptcy case. And from, tragically, one school shooting to another, the 1200 building at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School has remained untouched since that deadly Valentine's Day shooting in 2018, where 17 students and teachers were killed by a gunman. But that changed today, with demolition now getting underway. The removal of the 3-story building should take just a few weeks, but the closure some parents say it will provide could last years. Family members of the victims were invited to watch as crews began dismantling that building. Next tonight, the FAA investigating 2 mid-air incidents with Southwest Airlines flights. One jet's sudden plunge coming within 400 feet of the ocean, and a rare rolling incident at 34,000 feet. ABC's Trevor Ault explains.
Tonight, the FAA investigating 2 concerning incidents on Southwest airline flights. In April, a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 off the coast of Hawaii came within just 400 feet of slamming into the ocean. Bloomberg reporting inclement weather caused an aborted landing attempt on Kauai. The report citing a Southwest memo stating the less experienced first officer inadvertently pushed forward on the control column, then cut the speed, causing the airplane downward. Soon after, a warning system sounded alarms the jet was getting too close to the surface, and the captain ordered the first officer to increase thrust. The plane then climbed aggressively at 8,500 feet per minute. No one was injured, but the flight was diverted back to Honolulu. Southwest now saying the event was addressed appropriately, as we always strive for continuous improvement. Then last month, another Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8, this time en route from Phoenix to Oakland, experiencing a rare event at 34,000 feet, what's known as a Dutch roll, when an aircraft simultaneously slides from side to side and rocks wingtip to wingtip. The FAA incident report says the flight regained control, and the post-flight inspection revealed damage to the standby power control unit. No one was injured.
As of now, this is not something for passengers to be concerned about. The NTSB would have grounded the fleet if they saw something that they were really concerned about.
Our thanks to Trevor Ault tonight. Dangerous storms are hitting the Northeast, with more than 50 million people on alert right along that I-95 corridor. And in South Florida, after days of torrential rain led to water rescues, millions are now bracing for yet another hit. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg will time it all out for us. But first, Victor Oquendo reports in from Florida.
Tonight, powerful thunderstorms and high winds targeting millions from D.C. to New York to Boston. Dangerous driving conditions right in the middle of the evening commute.
But what we're concerned about, of course, damaging wind gusts, localized flooding, downpours, you name it.
It's the same system that spawned 7 tornadoes in the Midwest overnight. These buildings in the tiny northeast Missouri town of Ewing ripped to shreds. Meanwhile, waterlogged South Florida bracing for up to 5 more inches of rain after more than 2 feet already. Dead cars everywhere.
Tow trucks have been working around the clock. This one picking up this car in North Miami. But down the block, there are at least another dozen stalled out cars, and that's just on one street. Families still trapped in neighborhoods that look like lakes. First responders and high water vehicles seen leading families from these flooded homes this morning.
Oh, wow. Look how much water is still inside his house.
So a lot of things got damaged. This is me trying to save what I can.
I mean, we're still talking about...
That's a good, what,
That's like 3 inches right here.
Yeah.
Jamin Reyes has lived in this North Miami neighborhood for 11 years.
You're frustrated.
Yeah. You know, I keep my cool, but this is every year, man. Every year is the same thing. I've damaged so many things, and I had to throw a lot of things away. And then when I replace them, they get damaged again.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. No, it's bad. It's bad.
Victor joins us now from Florida. Victor, what are the conditions like where you are now?
Phil, here in this North Miami neighborhood that took on the bulk of the water that fell in Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue is still pulling people from their homes. Take a look down the block behind me. You'll see one of their high water vehicles. Residents were just loaded up on the back of it. There's much of South Florida still under a flood watch through tonight. The good news, we finally start to dry out tomorrow. Phil?
Yeah, there's just nowhere for that water to go. Victor, thank you. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our partner station in New York, WABC, joins us now. Lee, what's next?
Well, Phil, we got some storms approaching New York City right now, about to pour. It's really air you can wear out here. Very humid and a cold front bumping into that air. We've already had severe storms in Boston this evening. Now we have a severe thunderstorm watch across southeastern New York and into New Jersey. Storms moving into New York City should be east of the 5 boroughs by the time we get to 8 o'clock. And then we have severe thunderstorm watches until 9 o'clock. Southwestern Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. Hail, damaging winds, heavy downpours, and lightning. This is all about getting the heat eastward. Now, we've had the sweltering heat out west. I mean, it's been one of the hottest springs ever in the desert Southwest. But now that heat has expanded eastward, we're seeing 90s triple-digit temperatures all the way into the southeast. And that heat dome is expanding into the Midwest and the Northeast as we go through next week. It is blazing right off the bat in places like Chicago and Detroit and Cincinnati. Look at those temperatures in the mid and upper 90s. And then Boston and New York, along the I-95 corridor, we really start hitting our sizzling stride by the time we get to about midweek. In the tropics, well, as a candidate for development here, it's in the southwestern Gulf. 50% chance of development. The first name storm would be called Alberto. We'll be watching it closely. Looks like an active season. Phil?
And here we go. All right, Lee Goldberg, thanks so much. Now to Italy. President Biden wrapping up the G7 summit with world leaders, sharing a moment with Pope Francis. You see here the two later meeting one-on-one. Francis, the first pontiff to ever address the group of world leaders. So what was his warning to them? And earlier, a lighter moment at the Vatican, Pope Francis meeting with famous American comedians. Selena Wang is in Italy tonight.
Tonight, President Biden wrapping up the G7 summit with world leaders, sharing a tender moment with Pope Francis in Italy. Later meeting one-on-one with the pontiff, gifting him a decorative tray with an image of the Capitol Rotunda.
It's not the Vatican, but...
The two leaders discussing the urgent need for a ceasefire in Gaza and the war in Ukraine. Parting with a handshake, Pope Francis telling the president,
Pray for me, I pray for you. I promise I do.
Francis, the first pontiff ever to address the G7, delivering a warning about artificial intelligence, urging the leaders to put more guardrails in place. Saying, quote, we would condemn humanity to a future without hope by dooming them to depend on the choices of machines. And earlier, a lighter moment at the Vatican. Pope Francis meeting with comedians like Chris Rock, Stephen Colbert, and Whoopi Goldberg, saying, in the midst of so much gloomy news, you have the power to spread serenity and smiles.
Selena Wang tonight from Italy. And there is so much more to get to here on Prime. Coming up, how disinformation is rewriting the rules of politics, culture, and society. And who's to blame? But next, how a large number of penguins went from dehydration and malnourishment to getting back in the water.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine. Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel. Outside the Gaza Strip. In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
There is a price to be paid every time a survivor shares their story. I will not be silenced.
Do you feel the church accepted abuse?
I wouldn't say accepted it as so much pretended it didn't exist.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Ready? Kira Phillips with ABC News. Does your church protect sexual predators?
The powerful new Impact by Nightline. Secrets of the 2x2 Church.
There's nothing pretty about hearing the
Now streaming on Hulu.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag.
Not a tear in it.
How important is made to USA? Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismael? David.
David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Reporting from the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world at this hour. Off the shore of Gaza, the U.S. military is planning to suspend operations of that floating humanitarian aid pier for the third time in just a month. High seas and rough waves are to blame for this latest setback. The $230 million project was supposed to bring 2 million meals a day to hunger-stricken Gaza, but aid distribution has been complicated because of weather and security concerns. In South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected president, and today he brokered a deal with his rival party, the white-led Democratic Alliance, to form a unity government. 2 weeks ago, the African National Congress lost its parliamentary majority and had its worst election result since the end of apartheid. And it's a good day to be a penguin in Argentina. In the last few months, a large number of penguins were unable to migrate and were stranded right there on the coast, suffering from dehydration and malnutrition. But then a marine wildlife rescue took them in and nursed them back to health. Look at all those healthy penguins. They were released into the wild, one hop and one waddle at a time. With the election less than 5 months away, we find ourselves in the same predicament pretty much as we were in 2016, with partisan media and social media platforms still really efficient vehicles for spreading false information. A new book by Renee DiResta, Invisible Rulers, The People Who Turn Lies into Reality, explores the ways propagandists manipulate online trends to rewrite the rules of politics, culture, and society. I want to let you know that Renee is also a disinformation expert and research manager at Stanford Internet Observatory. And Renee joins us now. Good to see you. Thanks for being with us. You know, people worry that big government and tech platforms control what we see, but you write that in 2024, we are equally to blame. How so?
I don't know that it's that we're equally to blame. It's that we have a lot of power. I think it's both empowering in some ways, but also can be used by people who maybe are less scrupulous about thinking about putting out honest information and instead just think about the ends justifying the means. I think every time that we create content, you know, we're all content creators now. Whenever we hit the like or share button, we're boosting an opinion and a point of view, and that's fantastic. But what starts to happen is that you have very, very influential figures who are political actors, who often are also earning money or making themselves more famous by spreading rumors and spreading propaganda, and we all become participants in that process. So the point of the book is really to discuss what we all have the capability of doing and how we should think about that power.
Right. I often tell my kids when they send me something, what's the source of that? Find the source of the thing that you just sent me. Your book highlights a fascinating concept. If you make it trend, you make it true. What makes us so vulnerable to this?
So a lot of the time, first of all, we're seeing things that are already likely to be, that we're already likely to be receptive to. When a trend hits your feed, it is personalized for you. Trends are often pushed out to people who are likely to engage. When they hit the like and share button, they're engaging more, so they're propagating it. So you have these sort of fragmented, the reality feels very fragmented. Some people are extremely upset about something, it trends, and when an eventual fact check or correction comes out, that fact check or correction doesn't go viral.
What's at stake when parts of society, good pieces of society, big groups of our society can no longer discern fact from fiction, which is sometimes what happens when you describe what you're talking about?
So sometimes what's happening is they've decided that they trust one particular group of people, and they think that this is the particular group of people that is, that is telling them the truth, that is giving them accurate information. And sometimes that turns out not to be the case. And we saw this pretty clearly in election 2020. And so one of the things I talk about in the book are the narratives that the election was somehow illegitimate. And you see influencers, algorithms, and crowds repeating these claims over and over and over again. And what ultimately happens is you have people who really sincerely come to hold the belief that the media that they trust and the influencers that they trust are telling them that the election was stolen from them. And these are the sorts of things that really generate very real rage and lead people to go and take action in the streets, that lead events like January 6th to happen.
So is there a role for government and tech platforms to play here to make sure that truth somehow prevails?
Well, I think the role of government is really to speak, right? One of the things that we did see in the 2020 election was government officials like Chris Krebs at the Department of Homeland Security, for example, trying to put out what he called at the time, I think, rumor control, where he was just saying, hey, here are the things, here are the viral rumors that are going around on the internet, here are the actual facts about the election. And so one of the roles the government can play is, as a trusted voice for as many people as possible, trying to just get that accurate information out there into the world. One of the things with tech platforms, I think there's too much focus on moderation and the idea that taking something down works. It usually doesn't. There's often a backfire effect. People get very angry when the thing is taken down. So I think that should be reserved for speech that tends to incite violence or speech that tends to lead to civil unrest. But what you can do instead with tech platforms is they can consider using what are called bridging algorithms, where instead of curating or ranking the most divisive content, the most sensational content, which influences the influencer to produce more of it. Instead, if the algorithms are surfacing content that expresses disagreement, but does it in a more productive way, more like the way you would talk to your neighbor who you disagree with in real life. And algorithms can, in fact, surface that kind of stuff that helps to bridge divides and helps to create environments where people can have a discussion instead of being constantly at war with each other.
Renee DiResta, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about the book. We really appreciate the conversation. Renee's book, Invisible Rulers, The People Who Turn Lies into Reality, is out now. And still to come tonight, 5-time Grammy winner P.J. Morton tells us about his inspiration behind Cape Town to Cairo, his newest collection of songs.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
There is a price to be paid every time a survivor shares their story. I will not be silenced.
Do you feel the church accepted abuse?
I wouldn't say accepted it as so much pretended it didn't exist.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Ready? Kira Phillips with ABC News. Does your church protect sexual predators?
The powerful new Impact by Nightline. Secrets of the 2x2 Church.
There's nothing pretty about hearing this.
Now streaming on Hulu.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag...
Not a carry in it.
How important it made the USA.
Great work. Hi, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismail?
David.
David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Creating music from around the world, 5-time Grammy Award-winning artist P.J. Morton is out with a collection of expressive songs called Cape Town to Cairo. And on top of that, he's also releasing new singles like Smoke and Mirrors. Take a listen. Can I request another minute of that. Can we listen to a little more of that?
Yeah,
PJ joins us now.
It's just getting good, man.
You're just getting into the groove.
Yeah.
Joins us now in studio. Thanks so much for coming by. Really appreciate it. Have a lot to talk to you about. Let's start with the new collection of songs, this new record. It was a journey in more ways than one. Most artists will tell you, oh, it was a journey. This was like a literal journey. You set out. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, I put a bit of pressure on myself to do an experiment. I wanted to be inspired, and I'm like, man, I've never been to South Africa or West Africa, where my ancestors were from, you know. And so I set out to do an album in 30 days while being in Africa.
Self-imposed deadline.
Yes, yeah, I put it on myself.
Yeah.
I don't know, crazy man. But I promised that I wouldn't write anything before I got to Africa, wouldn't write anything after I left. I wanted to capture whatever I was feeling in that moment and not outside of it. And so we went from South Africa to Nigeria to Ghana to Egypt. And man, it really was like a life-changing trip.
Why did you decide to do this kind of collection of songs now?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, it was like the contrast of what I did before. Last album, I had Stevie Wonder and Nas on an album, on a song. I had Jill Scott, I had El DeBarge, all these great artists, and I got to dot every I, cross every T because it was during the pandemic. I had more time than I've ever had, and I wanted to see what my instincts would be. Trusting that, you know, and not second guessing what would happen if I let the first idea breathe without going through my head and editing. And so this was an experiment in trusting my gut and my instincts.
Okay, well, now that it's over and it's out there, what do you think?
I'm proud. Yeah, I'm proud. We actually did it.
There's something else as well that no one has done up until this point that you did it. You're the first Black composer to write an original song for a Disney attraction that is opening soon at Disney World. And we were just talking before we came on about how when you're a writer, you can really write about anything, but sometimes writing about what's in your soul is tougher than when someone says, hey, write about this.
That's right. Yeah, I have bad writer's block at times. So I'm happy sometimes when somebody comes with a story that I have to write about, because I can step outside of myself and re-engage my creativity. And that's what happened with this new attraction, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It just replaced Splash Mountain that's been there 30-something years. And I just got to ride it a few days ago, had my 11-year-old daughter there. So and it's crazy. I mean, I think it's going to change a generation. Of course, Tiana's the first Black princess, first American princess in Disney. So it's just special to be connected to that, to be connected to true change, and it's a beautiful thing. A dream come true. I wanted to write for Disney as a kid and work with Stevie Wonder. I'm literally like in the middle of my dream. I can't believe it,
Work
man.
with Stevie Wonder, you wrote for Disney.
That was it.
Stevie gives you a call every once in a while. You can see his name on the screen. It's very cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So apart from the collection and the ride, and it seems like everything's going so well, what can we expect next for you? Do you have anything planned?
Well, you know, we're going on the road. This is what I'm excited about, my band, Afro Orleans. I mean, we're going out with 11-piece band. There's going to be horns. There's going to be percussion. I'm so excited. We're playing the Beacon in August. And so I can't wait to get on the road. And also there's a memoir. I wrote my memoir, kind of putting all of this together in one place. That's coming out in November. So it's going to be a busy year, but
all good
rewarding.
Stuff.
Yeah, rewarding.
Yeah, rewarding indeed. Well, I look forward to more music because everything you put out is so cool.
Thank you, man.
And your voice is so great. It was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here,
Really do
man.
appreciate it.
Pleasure.
PJ, thank you. And you can listen to Cape Town to Cairo. It's out now. There's the cover. The music is amazing. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and of course, abcnews.com. Good night.
Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In rolling forward, this tornado tore through this town.